This is the concluding part 2 of our video YT6 on influences of Jupiter's placement over global weather. We would advise viewers to watch part 1 of this video by clicking the I button to comprehend the part 2 better. For effectively evaluating the causes of blips in the global weather, one has to look for both ingress and exit scenarios involving the active sun side of the Earth atmosphere as well as the night side or the magnitude tail in the backdrop of the cosmic influences. One of the prominent gravitational influences reveals itself in daily high and low tide activities actuated by the pull of moon over water, which is much heavier than air. Cosmic influences of gravitational and electromagnetic nature, such as the ones posed by the gravitational and electromagnetic giant Jupiter, or even the smaller ones in close proximity, Moon and Venus amongst others, would surely also exert influences on much lighter gaseous and ionic matter in the magnetotail area with more vigor and potency, thereby influencing the heat equilibrium of the Earth in significant ways due to their motions. The influences would be more prominent when Sun-Moon or Sun-Jupiter occupy 180 degrees apart or opposite positions as seen from the Earth. We have already discussed September 2016 weather extremes in part 1 of this video. Through our meditative research, we could find the link up of such a cosmic alignment with its weather impact yet again in March 2017. Jupiter was in Virgo and Sun had moved exactly opposite to Pisces, shining direct on the southern hemisphere with spring equinox in the northern. The weather records in southern hemisphere now were parts of South America 12th warmest March on record, Africa 7th, Australia 3rd warmest in 108 years record, New Zealand more than twice the amount of monthly rainfall. Northern hemisphere was mix of hotter and colder than its earlier March averages. Canada was colder, Europe warmer, and Asia generally warm. We also have two more major placements of Jupiter replicating September mid, October mid events that stood about 59 years apart. Jupiter was closest to Earth in late September-October 1963 and it is again on 26 September 2022. Obsessed with El Nino and La Nina and the oceanic temperatures, professional weathermen simply forgot to correlate Jupiter's closest placement in Pisces, 180 degrees opposite the Sun in Virgo in the end September of 1963 as well as now in 2022. Bharat generally and Northern Bharat particularly has received similar and exceptional heavy rains in September 2022 as it did in 1963 for the similar period. None except our research was able to decipher Jupiter pulling the trick with reasons supplied. During both the times in 1963 and 2022, we had Jupiter pulling the Earth away from the Sun, which meant reduced intensity of the solar radiations. Yet, and at the same time, also stretching the Earth's magnetotail further through its gravitational and electromagnetic influences, thereby enhancing the insulation for the heat trapped within the Earth atmosphere. We deduce so on the basis of our own meditative research in the absence of any other from the Western methodologies, particularly on Jupiter. Though, however, hint coming from the phenomena positively observed with respect to the Moon while it was positioned in the magnetotail or night side that is masked by the Earth from solar wind. We dwelled further on the research of Kentaro Terada of Osaka University in Japan. He deduced that Earth's atmosphere might just have been leaking oxygen to the Moon for billions of years. His deductions came by studying the year 2008 data of Japan's Selene Moon orbiter Kaguya, which commuted through the Earth's shadow, as a much bigger in size Earth positioned itself between Moon and Sun, casting a shadow over the former. During this period, Kaguya counted ions arriving the Moon's way from the Earth. Least expectedly, substantial concentrations of high-energy oxygen ions that could not have come from the solar wind were finding their way from the Earth to the Moon. We could deduce that just as Moon, despite its smaller size, was stretching and pulling away matter in the form of oxygen ions, and in fact the plasma sheet of the Earth, a similar phenomena was the case with the gravitational and magnetic giant Jupiter, particularly when located exactly opposite of the Sun as seen from the Earth. Jupiter pulled and stretched the matter in the Earth's magnetotail zone exosphere, thereby influencing rate of heat escape from the Earth atmosphere on the night side. We briefly talked about the influences of Jupiter in this video and hope to cover the influences of other cosmic bodies, especially the Moon, on Earth climate in another. The same, however, stands covered in details in my book Cosmos and the Divinity. Western methodologies have totally missed out on a peculiar characteristic of the Earth atmosphere. All influx of heat on the Earth due to the solar radiations occurs primarily via quantum and electromagnetic heat waves mechanism. But however, the heat escape into the space occurs via mix of convection, conduction and quantum processes in the magnetotail zone on the night side. Our research could observe that just as Earth's magnetosphere has a vastly different active sun side and the night side with gross differences in the electromagnetic characteristics of each, the situation is no different in thermal and insulating ones as well. Magnetotail particularly stretches or shrinks due to not only the Earth-Sun distances but also due to the angle and distance with the other cosmic bodies such as Jupiter or even smaller bodies such as Moon, Venus and Mars in the closer proximity. Western science and meteorological methods have focused only on the physical aspects of things, totally ignoring the cosmic realities and influences which Sanatan's ancient knowledge system discerned and deployed in the day-to-day human life on the Earth. Monthly weather predictions can be found on most Sanatan ephemeris or the gantries as a matter of routine since eternity. They did so with the involvement of not only Jupiter alone but the entire infinite statistical matrix of the entities in the solar system and beyond, involving the influences of even the background constellations within the galaxy or maybe even beyond. Back to the brass tacks, we started the video with the World Meteorological Organization report dated May the 9th, 2022 forecast suggesting a rise of 1.5 degree over the 20th century global temperature average of 15.6 degrees centigrade in at least 1 out of the 5 years 2022 to 2026 on the basis of El Nino and La Nina, as well as the statistical analysis are likely to be an overstatement unless drastic human activity drove it so. In our estimate, the rise would not pass beyond 1 degree given the gradual distancing of Jupiter and Earth that would commence by the end of 2022.